here.
There's a couple things I've learned in the last year that are completely contrary to what I've always been told about silicone pipe sealant tape, whatever that stuff is, and this pipe dope. Everybody said use one or the other. They also said on the instructions for most things, you do 2 to 3 wraps with the silicone sealant with the tape. That is a lie. If you only do 2 to 3 wraps, you're going to be sitting there cranking down on that thing all the time trying to get a good seal. Especially with the changes in some of the machining that you run into with parts that come from various portions of the world. They're not all the same. What somebody pointed out to me was that you do 5 wraps with that silicone sealant, and then you put a layer of the pipe dope around to act as a lubricant. And that helps you get it on there tighter. And what I've had is great success with that. So take it for what it's worth. If you're running into problems with stuff like this, that technique might work for you. I'm just putting the smallest amount on here, just enough to get it all the way around.
For this house, I chose PEX A for the supply plumbing, and a home run design. The home run means that you run a single line from the manifold to each destination fixture. In theory, this eliminates joints, which are the major opportunity for leaks and failures, but it requires a lot more line, and it is much less clean looking than a single run that goes to the water source.
Down there and hold it for about 15 seconds. This is paying out.
Why?
Because I don't have a lot of faith on how this is going to end up working, and I'm going to do something I haven't wanted to do the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to splice, and I'm going to make a straight run that goes up. I'm going to put 2 angles in here.
Okay.
Just because I don't like this, trying to route this in this small space.
Alright, it's not working.
It's not looking good.
It's easy to get stuck in a single mode of thinking. Being married to the concept of always having a single line that goes from point A to point B with no joints in the middle can cause some problems.
Just hold tight. It's the only time you ever listen to me.
Sometimes you have to adapt your technique to the situation. It appears that I am still learning.
That's great. And so spout is going to come out right about where the light is, which is fine.
I moved the spout over a little bit
Yeah.
to center it on the tub. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It should be centered on the top one.
Now the question is, what's next?
Crossing off the list.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning up after you. That's what's next.
Cleaning up?
Yeah, cleaning up after you.
Starting to notice a trend. See what else we got on here that I can actually do today.
My final punch list that was supposed to get us quickly ready for drywall is starting to feel like a baton death march. It continues and continues, and there's always another turn to it.
Rolling into the back. Go. Dunzo. as I'm walking around here checking everything to make sure that I've got all of the boxes roughed in and safed off so that I can start working on the panel, I found that one. That is for the oven that goes at the base of the oven. It's got to be within 3 inches of the floor. So we're right there. It's like 3 1/8. And if it's a problem, I've left enough line on the other side of it. I'm gonna have it tacked up in one spot that I can drill right through the bottom there and pull it through and put it in the cabinet, which is also approved in the specs. So I'm looking for everything I can find here to make sure everything is safed off. Double check and triple check. And it looks like I got one more up at the top that I gotta fix. Ain't that always the way? Well, I worked on the panel a little bit, trying to get the wires organized so I can get everything put in there. I can't keep Jafana from mowing the yard. Once it starts to grow, she gets a little panicky thinking that things are gonna take over and we're not gonna be able to keep up. The sun is going down behind the mountain. Apollo's getting bored and I've just about run out of cowboy for the day. So we're gonna run home, charge our batteries up, go to work. Well, this is one of the few times that I actually get to just sit around and watch people work. This is at the place that we rent because of all the damage that was done by the storm and the flash floods coming down the hill. It literally picked up the asphalt road and twisted it and buckled it and ribboned it and busted some of it apart. So they've been up here this morning digging out the culvert. Fortunately, that culvert had gotten blocked by a log, which once they get down to it, makes it easy to clear. So they don't have to do anything fancy trying to ream it out. In the continuing saga of Apollo managing to hurt himself, we were playing ball and he ripped his dew claw off. I have a picture. I'm not going to share it because it's nasty. But I ended up having to take him to the animal hospital so they could snip that off. I wasn't going to rip the rest of it off. And he has been milking it big time. He wants to go with me to the work site today, but I can't let him outside if he can't protect himself against any of the other animals that show up. So he's gonna have to stay here for a little bit. And before I go, I'm actually quite proud of what Jafana has done here. She has been practicing her gardening skills and she has some killer tomatoes going on here. And she's got a little contraption there that helps hold them up, but she's also using these Mexican sunflowers to hold up the tomatoes. And then she's got these other monster sunflowers here as well, so they're looking pretty good. But she's honing her gardening skills, getting ready for when we get moved in. Quiet country roads. I love them, and that's one of the reasons that I moved to this place. But we have to maintain the road ourselves. Between us and the neighbors, we've got to take care of everything that happens out here. That includes laying out gravel, that includes pulling these things. And if you take a look at this, I'm hoping that it'll show up on the camera. We got a little bit of a dent here in the road. We've got a hole. And we don't just have one pothole. There's a big one right there that's filling with water. And every time a car or a truck comes down here, when there's water in this, it splashes the water out. And not only does water go out, but soil goes out with it, and it just gets a little bit deeper. I'm gonna go up here and take the sprayer off the tractor, put the blade on the tractor, come through here, and I'm gonna pull this thing proper.
pulling the road, it's not just technique that's important. Timing is also essential. If you try to do it when it's too dry, you're going to have a hard time getting this crust to crack and getting the material to flow. If you do it when it's too wet, you're going to create a big mess, and it's not going to pack down very well for a long time.
Sky opened up on me here, and as you can see, there's a little bit of rain, so not quite what I was hoping for. I will head on back to the house, wait for the rain to pass, and start working on the electrical. Now when you pull the rocks like that, a decent rain is nice because it kind of settles the dirt down, but you don't want too much of it too quick. Otherwise it turns to soup, so we'll see what happens. I didn't pull it too bad. The problem is if the potholes that I filled don't have time to get packed down, they turn to soup. Forecast said it was going to be 0.04 inches of rain, and it looks like it's going to be a lot more than that. Storm's starting to die down, or at least it seems like it's starting to die down. I want to work on electric, but I don't feel like having myself up in that panel when there's a lot of lightning and thunder and that sort of thing. So I'm waiting for it to pass. But I want to share something that I thought was kind of funny. We still haven't gotten our gutters yet. It's a pretty big roof. When it rains, especially a rain like this, it's dynamic. That's a lot of water. A little bit of wind too. But that is a lot of water. We have a good swale that takes it by us. Vanna said we could just get a rain barrel. I think it's gonna take a little bit more than a rain barrel. Storm kind of threw all of my plans off for today. I was going to be doing some work in the panel. I don't want to do that when it's lightning and thunder. I'm trying to get the propane tank off the trailer because I got to go pick up some supplies tomorrow because I have to bring some stuff back here so that we can finish the siding, because there's stuff we have to do to finish the siding, because I have to create some intrusions. It's not a protrusion, it's a penetration. I have to create some penetrations in the side of the house, and all the areas where I have to do that is in the areas that I don't have siding right now. So I've got to get that done. In order to get that done, I got to get this tank off. I got to go pick up the additional sheets of siding because I ended up not having enough, which is one of the reasons we're not done. And batteries in the excavator are dead. Not good. I'm gonna have to address that. Technically, the propane tank should only weigh 949 pounds when empty. The tractor should be able to pick that up, and we're gonna find out.
When I started this YouTube channel 3 years ago, I didn't really know what to expect. My daughter had been encouraging me for a while to start one, but I was hesitant. You open yourself up to a lot when you share your experience with the world. I didn't even own a camera. And when I bought one, it took more than a month to figure out how to process all the files, get them onto the computer and into the editing program. But it turns out that I enjoy it. I am a little dumbstruck that so many people take time out of their busy lives to watch what we're doing. We found a lot of encouragement and some great advice. I know that not everyone sees the world the same way that I do, and this type of life certainly isn't for everyone. Most of our friends think that we have lost our minds, and when we see their vacation pictures posted online, sometimes we agree with them. But by living this life, I get to see this beautiful mountain every day, and that is better than any vacation that I've ever had.
Obviously, this is temporary. It's not going to be there, and we're not going to leave it like that. We're going to build a cement pad for it that's level, the slight crown so water comes off of it. But I need to use the trailer, and that had to come off. 9% battery. Let's see what happens. So the last few days, instead of coming up here after work, I've been scrambling to find breakers for the house. I did not know that we were in a global shortage on electrical parts. As of 2017 and 2020 NEC, National Electric Code, you need arc fault breakers almost everywhere in the house. And the places that you don't need an arc fault breaker, you pretty much need to have a GFCI. You gotta have a GFCI in the bathroom, and you have to have a GFCI in the kitchen for anything that services the counter and anything that's in a wet area within 6 feet of the sink. That includes your garbage disposal, that includes your dishwasher, and anything else in the kitchen, living room, common area, bedroom, hallway, library, pantry, you name it pretty much, has to have arc fault breakers. About the only place that doesn't have to have arc fault breakers is if it stipulates that it's a GFCI breaker. And why it is that the bathroom is GFCI and not GFCI and AFC, I don't know, but that's the way the code reads. So what I have to do is go by the Virginia Building Code, and I believe that was implemented in 2018. They probably based that off of 2017, but there's really nothing changed from that. This is a standard 20 amp breaker. Most people have seen this, and for the most part, you can't use these anymore unless you're doing an area that is designated as GFCI and you use GFCI plugs. There are some creative ways to work within the parameters of the rules and not have to have the special breakers that are AFCI and GFCI, or the combo of AFCI and GFCI, which, by the way, you can't get anywhere, and the resupply date is months away. It is July 14th. Resupply date on those parts is listed as somewhere between October 21st and January 1st, which pretty much means you're not going to get them. So I've scavenged around every place that I can get anything, and I've got a plan that's going to allow me to go ahead and get the panel completed within the parameters of the rules so we can get the inspection done and be finished. So anybody else out there who's suffering with the supply chain problems, I feel you. It's a pain, but we're gonna make it work. We're gonna get in here tonight, get a little bit of work done. I think I've got what I need and I've got a good plan.
Whoops. Does your ass get wet by sitting on that?
Of course.
Better you than me.
Wasn't it your job to drive it over here? I thought it was. Tighten that up. You didn't seem like you were rushing over to do it, so. Grab that. Alright, so that's the wrong one. I thought this was the cold line, because I got the other one marked with red tape. So, this is not the cold water line, this is the hot water line. Or this is some anonymous line that went somewhere that it's not supposed to be. I mean, this is on the hot water system, so it's obviously the hot water line, not the cold. So, let's see if I can get this thing off of here. And put it on the other one. What? It's coming out of the same one? Come in here. And you do it, because I gotta see this. It's coming out of the same hole on both of them. Well, then I have a problem. I hooked up both lines to the hot, maybe? Like hook your finger around it and squeeze against it.
Okay.
It's almost empty. It's almost out of air, but.
Okay. Ready?
Go ahead. Alright.
What did you do? I know, I just like doing it.
Don't put it back on the other one, because I don't see how it could be coming out. Those lines go in there on the other one, on the cold water line, and they go to the cold water manifold.
Okay.
So there's no way that it's coming out when you see where they're coming out.
There's no way it's coming out where it says it's coming out?
That's correct.
That's not true. What the hell? No, it's coming out.
I'm telling you, it can't be.
Really?
Yep.
But you just saw it.
When it's hooked up to the hot water line now, the one that's marked hot water,
Okay.
right? And it's coming out of the hot water manifold.
Yes.
But you said that it was coming out of the hot water manifold before.
Yes, it was.
I don't understand how that would be possible, because the line, that other line goes to the cold water manifold.
But you saw it.
I didn't see anything.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
It's not coming out of there.
How about now? Yes?
No.
So you're saying I was wrong. This thing is crooked. You know that, right? Like it's broke.
It's broken.
This.
You just said what broke?
No, this is broken. Like it's crooked.
You broke it.
You know what? I can't be completely wrong every time. It's you too.
No, it's not me. Yeah, I don't know what's up with this thing. It wasn't like, hold this for a second, let me just screwdriver so I can
It
see
wasn't before I did it.
It was.
Can I fix this thing?
I don't know. We'll see.
Do you hear the air?
No, not at all. I don't know. We'll find out if this one works.
Okay.
But the other one's fancy and it's supposed to be better. But this one works. All right, let's run it up to 65. Oh my God, I heard you pushing that mop across the floor, and I thought it was air coming out of something. All right, I'm gonna take it up to 75 and just let it sit before I charge it higher than that.
Oh my gosh, this is something we can cross something off the list.
If we pass the test.
I just want to cross something off the list.
All right, so we got to figure out what blew or what had air coming out of it. You stay here and tell me if air is coming out of it.
Here. You know, what about the toilet? Is that sealed?
No.
Is it supposed to be sealed?
Yeah,
You know what? You're so lucky you have me.
I am. You keep coming, I don't know, something keeps happening.
Something.
Something.
You know?
I'm not saying who's doing it. No, you don't. No.
It's just so this is the whole house, though. You're pressurizing the
I'm
whole
pressurizing
house.
there's 3 lines that are still off.
What are those 3 lines for?
Stuff.
It's right here.
So the question is,
And it's coming from here, over here.
first we fix this. We find out what's up with this.
So let's stop that. Did you put the blue monster on there?
We didn't even have that back then. So the only thing I have on here is the silicone sealant. The silicone tape. All right, back to square one. Now, you don't hear anything coming out of here. So maybe, I don't know if anything was coming out.
Air
So maybe,
was coming out of there.
you sure it wasn't
Yes.
just blowing across?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see. I don't hear nothing.
What's that mean?
That means that your faucet seems to be working.
Oh, good.
It's sealed up. I think you were feeling air blowing across
Okay.
from that.
Okay.
Because if you, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna put the seal back on here,
Okay.
but it seems like the faucet's sealing up properly.
Oh, so the middle is where it's supposed to be anyway.
So
We
what
can
I need
check
to
that
do-
off the list?
You can't check it off the list yet.
Why?
At first, it's not even on the list.
That's not helpful. Why isn't that on the list? Do you want to try to tighten these too?
No, they should be tight. I tighten them.
Mm-hmm. So that other one should have been tight too. Okay, so are you gonna open the hot at the same time?
We don't have another meter.
Oh,
We only
got
have
you.
1 gauge. Everything's sold out.
Oh,
They don't have any more.
okay.
I had to recycle that off of the one that we used to test the waste plumbing when we first got the foundation put in.
So we could test them one at a time, but you actually have to have that ready
You
to
have
go.
to have it, and it's got to be charged up when she gets here.
Okay.
I'm not seeing bubbles. Let's look at this one. It's the same build as the other.
Oh,
Hey,
there it
well,
is.
hello.
Oh my gosh, it does work.
I told you it worked.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I didn't expect it to do a bubble like that. Like, that's a bubble.
You didn't expect me to be correct.
Well, kind of a little bit, but not completely.
Wow.
So it's the same thing at the same point.
Yeah. It's that inferior faucet that you had me buy.
Alright, it's great. It's the seal that you put on there. Oh, look.
Yeah.
It really does work.
It really does work. I told you, it's like a little kid blowing bubbles.
Alright, let's do this again. This
This
is
one?
the one that you did the monster.
Yeah,
Those other ones, you didn't do the monster seal.
correct.
So
So,
what does that mean?
so the cold air is coming in, or cold
Right.
water rather is coming in.
Right.
If you don't have anything in this line and that's
Yeah.
empty and open on the other side, and that's in the middle where it mixes the two of them and you open it, the water is going to pass through the valve and go the other way. So So I'm cutting this compression ring right here, so I can pop it off first. Where I was cutting that, I'm going to cut through the pecs, so I can just peel it back right off this fitting. Unfortunately, I just ruined more of that than I wanted to. And hopefully we don't run into the same thing with the hot water when we test that. So that I can get this on there. No. Yeah, I don't like the way it goes on. I wish the hole was a little higher. The first is we discovered that this was still leaking, and I think part of it is the angle. This hole is lower than that is. So this comes through here and it's wedging down on this fitting. And because it's wedging down on that fitting, it's opening a gap there where air is coming out of it. So I am going to increase this hole. I'm going to lift it up so that when this comes through and it comes at the faucet, it's coming straight in and there's no angle there.
Okay, so this is done. This is done, technically.
Technically, it needs to be tested because this was leaking right there at the seam, right at the top. So this was leaking, not this last time. And it was because this was coming in at an angle and it was pulling down and levering open. So.
That's crazy.
All right. Let's fill that with air again. I'm supposed to be working in the panel today. I've actually got the panel cover off already. I thought this was going to be a fairly easy thing. Charge it up. I was hoping there weren't going to be any leaks. And I figured if they were, it'd be a real quick thing to fix. It has not been quick. Doesn't help that the little contraption I put together was also leaking air. Well, it's looking good, I think. I'm not seeing bubbles form on it. And this one I sprayed, but I shouldn't have because the only reason it had bubbles before was because I opened the valve. Oh. And so air crossed over through the valve, and I am looking to see if this thing is forming bubbles. I only have two hands.
You want some help? Do we even have this on the list, do we?
No, we don't.
Darn it.
I could be the worst plumber in the world. Ah, she's right. I did trip on that damn thing.
I know, I just like doing it.